Hi, my name is Melissa Hendrickson, and my presentation is titled Using Library Resources to Facilitate Community Awareness of and Literacy Development in Children Who are Homeless and Living in Poverty. First, let me start by explaining why I've chosen this topic. As a child living in a single-parent home, my family often experienced the effects of poverty, so it's a topic that has significant importance to me and is a topic in which I hope in the future to be able to focus more on. So let's begin with the introduction, and then I'll work my way down through the presentation, explaining and expanding on some of the points as I go. Homelessness and poverty does not discriminate. It affects a widely diverse population of children and young adults. Children who are homeless are more likely to lag behind housed children in literacy development. According to the Institute for Children, Poverty and Homelessness, as stated in the Voices Behind the Numbers article, and I quote, less than 1/4 of homeless elementary school students nationwide are proficient in math and reading, as opposed to over 1/3 of their housed peers. Homeless high school students are even less likely to be proficient in these subject areas. End quote. Children who are homeless and living in poverty often feel ashamed and/or embarrassed. These feelings can affect the child's ability to thrive and learn effectively. That is why I hope that through this presentation, participants will be able to gain valuable information from the learning outcomes I have outlined. The first learning outcome is to recognize the library's role in serving children who are homeless and living in poverty. The second is to gain a resource guide to assist librarians in raising community awareness of homelessness and help improve the literacy skills of children who are homeless and living in poverty. And thirdly, and one that I feel is extremely important and essential, is to gain understanding and empathy for children who are homeless and living in poverty. Data indicates that there has been a significant increase in the number of homeless children in the United States. The number of homeless children in 2010 was 1.6 million, or 1 in 45. In just 3 years, by 2013, that number has jumped to 2.5 million, or 1 in 30. So what effects does poverty have on a child? This diagram from the Child Poverty Action Group, which is based out of the UK, again, poverty is global, illuminates the myriad of emotions a child living in poverty experiences, such as feeling worried, anxious, frustrated, feeling they have very few opportunities, hopeless, social insecurity, they feel excluded, embarrassed, insecure, bullied, judged, and they can feel that teachers don't understand their situation, and they may have no place for homework or play, especially if they're living in a shelter which may be noisy and offer very little privacy. Even if they are housed, these homes may not be conducive to quiet learning, especially if they're living in overcrowded homes where there just isn't a space for quiet study. This is where libraries can step in. Librarians can help these children by providing understanding and educational guidance. The library space can be a quiet, safe place where homework can be done, and play can take place through programming and video gaming, for instance. The library can work towards bolstering the positive feelings these children have by encouraging their aspirations, hopes, dreams, and commending their resilience. Early literacy programming is one way that libraries can work to help combat the education gap that homeless children experience. A study conducted by the National Institute of Child Health and Human Development and the American Library Association's Public Library Association found that parents and caregivers who engage in early literacy library programs show a significant increase in their own literacy behavior, which works towards the literacy betterment of the child. Libraries can create programs that trumpet the benefits of early literacy skills. One way libraries can promote these programs and reach children and their caregivers who are homeless and living in poverty is to host a family reading program at a homeless shelter or in the library. In order for these programs to be a success, however, the community needs to be made aware of these programs. So how can libraries facilitate awareness? Libraries can create brochures and flyers which they can post throughout the community. Libraries can collaborate with other organizations such as shelters and food banks. Bookmobiles, I know this one can be difficult due to budget constraints, but they can and they have been used to reach at-risk neighborhoods that may not be aware of the library and its programs. And libraries can also invite parents and caregivers to tour the library, highlighting its many benefits. So what types of resources can librarians utilize within their own library? Books can be a great starting place. As Becknell discusses in her piece titled Holding Out Hope, From the Diversity in Youth Literature, Opening Doors Through Reading Text, one of the most important ways libraries can help individuals who are impoverished and homeless is by providing literature that portrays poverty and homelessness authentically. Articles can be a great way for librarians to familiarize themselves with the topic of children who are homeless and living in poverty. Librarians can gain insight and empathy through reading various articles, along with gaining information on how libraries can provide resources and programming to aid these children, young adults, and their families. Websites can also provide a myriad of resources. I've highlighted just a few, but there are a number of sites available that provide information on a wide range of topics pertaining to children and young adults who are homeless and living in poverty. The American Library Association's website has numerous resources on serving homeless individuals. I have provided a link to just one of the many resources, which is a PDF document, which is a resource guide to underserved student populations. WebJunction offers articles and programming ideas specifically focused on homelessness. True Colors United is an organization that provides resources for LGBTQ youth, a demographic who the National Coalition for the Homeless estimates makes up 20 to 40% of homeless youth. Every Child Ready to Read is an organization created to teach parents and caregivers the importance of and the skills necessary to be their child's first early literacy teacher. And Doing Good Together is an organization that works to inspire children to be compassionate and engaged children. I've included this site because it provides a fairly large listing of books specific to the subject of poverty and homelessness. In conclusion, the utilization of books that authentically portray poverty and homelessness can work towards alleviating stereotypes and stigmas. Literacy programs within the library can help to combat the education gap, and it is essential that libraries make resources available to help children and families who are homeless and living in poverty. The research methods I used for this presentation were searching various databases to locate scholarly and practitioner articles. The statistical information was gathered from the American Institutes for Research, and numerous websites were researched to find beneficial resources for librarians. My references are listed below, and I do apologize for the small font. And I thank you for viewing my presentation, and I hope I was able to provide you with some useful information and resources. Thank you.